So last night, the Milwaukee Bucks lost for the second time this season. A second time this season to the Miami Heat. And you know what we do? We don't really pay attention to the regular season unless we pay attention to the regular season. And in this particular case, we're paying attention to some nondescript game in early March in which the Heat took down the Bucks. Is it cause for concern? Yes and no. Yes, in that we've seen Mike Budenholzer and his style work in the regular season before, and it hasn't worked in the postseason. No, in that it's just a regular season game. Yes, in that there is a specific matchup that the Miami Heat have for Giannis. Right? They have athletic defenders that are strong enough so that he can't play downhill. They got Bam Adebayo, who is the Giannis stopper. They collapse, they expand. They have Jimmy Butler, who's tough and forces him into bad shots. And they have a scheme. They have a system. They have the personnel that's been able to outwit the Milwaukee Bucks. Sports is about a lot of things. Right? Sports is about a lot of things. Sometimes it's about who wants it more. Desire to be there. Matter of fact, the Miami Heat have oftentimes won games at home because of the South Beach flu, right? Teams come down from the Northeast and they get to the warm weather and they get to the club scene and they hang out and they put their last beer down. They go to shoot around. They sleep all day and they sleepwalk through the game at night. That happens. Sports is about that sometimes, especially professional sports. Sports at times is about who's better. Sports is about who's healthier. And sports is also about matchups. Like, look, the takeaway is no different than my takeaway with the Rockets and the Lakers. The Lakers are empirically better than the Rockets, but the Rockets are a really tough matchup for the Lakers. Why? The Lakers are kind of top-heavy. Even with the addition of Markieff Morris, they have Dwight Howard, they have JaVale McGee, who are basically useless against the playing style and personnel of the Houston Rockets. Right? Because the counter to playing small ball is pound them inside, and neither of them are really traditional low-post players. And whatever they give you on offense gets nullified by their inability to guard on defense. So I just want to point out that the Heat aren't better than the Bucks, but the Heat are a problem for the Bucks. The Rockets aren't better than the Lakers, but the Rockets are a problem for the Lakers. And then if you forward it even more, why the Golden State Warriors win 73 games before Kevin Durant got there, and why were they so dominant getting to 3 NBA Finals and nearly winning a third championship, if not for health befalling them last year? Because no one had the elixir. No one had the right matchup. Teams had not yet evolved to having that type of lineup, enough quality small ball players. And now I think they have. So if you're the Bucks or a Buck fan and you're trying to figure out, can they get to the finals? The answer is yes and maybe no. Are the Lakers better than the Clippers? Yes. But can they get by the Rockets? Maybe no. And will the Warriors return to dominance? Maybe, but it's a different league than the one they left. The one they left was a step ahead of everyone else, and they were all playing catch-up, trying to cobble together a small ball lineup. Now everyone has one, and some are perfecting it. Maybe not to the level of the Golden State Warriors, but not that far off. Sports is about a lot of things. Health is important. Home and road is important. Desire to win and to compete and to prepare is important. Coaching is important. Making shots and missing shots is important. But matchups, style matchups, personnel matchups, oftentimes are the biggest decider in who wins and who loses and why. I'll give you one last example. My first year calling NCAA tournament games was 2012, 2013. I was in Salt Lake City. And the biggest upset we had was the Harvard Crimson won their first NCAA tournament game against the New Mexico Lobos. Now, we had followed New Mexico all year, as I'd called Mountain West games, and Steve Alford had a great squad. They had a power forward named Cameron Bairstow, who actually had a cup of coffee in the NBA. He was an Aussie. He was about 6'7", 250 pounds. He was a monster. Harvard countered with a guy named Laurent Rivard. You ever heard of Laurent Rivard? Probably not. You might not have heard of either of them, but he didn't play in the NBA. But he was a fourth perimeter player. And the Crimson, time and again, got Cameron Bairstow lost defensively because Laurent Rivard was spacing to the corner, to the wing, catching and shooting threes. And I think he only made 3 or 4, but it didn't matter. It's so discombobulated New Mexico. They never went to a small lineup. They tried to do what they do and not have it work. And when they end up getting beat. Harvard wasn't better than New Mexico, but they were able to create one key mismatch, one magic elixir, one wrench in the plans, and they end up pulling off the upset. That, in many ways, is what sports is about. Doesn't mean Miami's better. Doesn't mean the Bucks are a fraud. It does mean that there are matchups which can expose them, like last night. Oh, yeah, by the way, as we have told you, and I've caught a ton of heat, I stand by what James Harden said. It doesn't mean that Giannis doesn't play hard, doesn't mean he's not effective at both ends of the floor, but he is not refined in terms of his skill of shooting, passing, even post-play. All right, so this was Spike Lee on First Take talking about what's happening with the Knicks and owner James Dolan.
Why do you think the policy changed, at least towards you?
I'm being harassed by James Dolan. I don't know why.
Let me ask, what about the press release did you object to that made you say, what did the press release say that you said that's not true?
That me and him, after he came to me, just, at halftime he leaves, and he always walks across the court, and it's a direct right where I'm sitting. And the press release says that we shook hands and we were laughing.
They actually said
this is what it says. A Knicks spokesman said that it was untrue, that it was simply an issue of Lee using the wrong entrance.
How is it the wrong entrance if no one tells them they come in the same entrance for 28 years?
I just want to make sure that we have that on the
that's a lie.
So they made that up.
It's garden spin. I wasn't shaking his hands. In fact, when he came over me, I didn't get up right away. I was down sitting in my seat.
Isn't there actually a video of him shaking his hand? Yeah, it's a bad look for Spike. It's a bad look for Spike. I get it. You don't like James Dolan. You don't like the way the teams run. You don't like that they're not winning. It's the first day for Leon Rose to be on the job. Like, everything is bad. But when you make up a story and there's video to support the Knicks story, I don't really know where to go with it. These two things can both be true. James Dolan can be a yutz. Okay, and a bad owner. And Spike Lee can be making up what he's saying, which appears to be both be true. I mean, there's video and photos of him shaking hands with James Dolan when he said, I didn't shake hands with James Dolan. Like, yeah, you did. I don't know about the entrance thing. I feel like this is classic superstar stuff. And by the way, if you really don't like James Dolan, don't buy the seats. Like, that's the only, all these Knicks fans are like, man, we need to fire, don't sell the team. You're at the game, right? You're paying money. If you, the only way he'll ever know that you don't want any part of it is don't show up. Don't buy tickets. Hey, what up? Doug Gottlieb here. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Fox Sports Radio. You can catch my show, all the shows on Fox Sports Radio, unique interviews, strong takes, just interesting discussion on the sports topic of the day, of the week, of the month. It's all encompassing. It's everything you need right here on YouTube. Subscribe.